What's up, everybody? Applerski back with another video here. And in this video I wanted to talk about Bloober team. They put out a video recently, kind of like a combat deep dive of their upcoming survival horror game, Chronos: The New Dawn, which has been a game that's been on my radar ever since that it was announced. A huge fan of Dead Space, and this gives me like very much Dead Space vibes. And I think they've actually even said that they took a lot of inspiration from Dead Space. So they kind of went over like a high level what the combat is like, but it gave me an idea with Bloober Team itself, and that question is, can they become the new standard, if you will, or masters of horror, the horror genre in video games? We know what they did last year, what they achieved with the Silent Hill 2 remake, and that game is still in my mind. Like, I think about it, on a weekly basis, how good they did of a job when I was very skeptical, even, when they first showed it off, but how well it turned out to be and was critically acclaimed and everything. Now, before that, they put out a couple of games, Layers of Fear 1 and 2, and then a game called The Medium, which I have not played. Layers of Fear, it's on my backlog for sure, but I did play The Medium. It wasn't received that well, but it wasn't horrible either. I liked it. I really enjoyed it, and that's the thing, with the reason why I'm making this video too, is that they've they're starting to show that they're not just a one-trick pony when it comes to the genre of horror, right? So, from what I understand, Layers of Fear is it's like psychological horror, and same thing with The Medium too. As you're seeing, this is actually The Medium right here. A very unique take and gameplay where you kind of play in two different realms at the same time, which is really cool. It could have been better, of course. The runtime wasn't the greatest. It wasn't very long. It just, with a little bit more time in the tank, I think it would have been a much better game. But that's not to say it's bad. And then I think with getting the opportunity to do Silent Hill 2 remake, that game was so beloved that they absolutely had to deliver on that game. And I think they learned a lot from Team Silent's previous effort on the original that kind of propelled them into now maybe they get it. They get horror, how it's supposed to be done, how it's supposed to look, how it's supposed to make you feel. And then they're attempting to do it again with a totally different type of horror game with Chronos: The New Dawn. It's heavily inspired by Dead Space, and we did get burned kind of before with the Callisto Protocol. I mean, I didn't. I personally love that game, but a lot of people, it was kind of off-putting to them, and it basically it was really short. And from what I understand, they didn't like the combat system, which I thought it was really cool. Either way, that's not made by them, but just to, since they're making a Dead Space inspired game, it looks fantastic and it sounds great so far. Everything we've seen up until this point looks horrifying, mysterious, original. The way that they're doing the enemy variety and how they can merge with enemies you've already killed and become completely different types of enemies like that. To me, that's never been done. That's a super original idea, and I really, really can't wait to see how it pans out. But overall, I mean, as of right now, I would say Capcom is kind of like the de facto master of horror developer, but it's just because of Resident Evil. Capcom makes a ton of different games. They're not a horror focused studio. They just so happen to make one of the best out there, and it's a legendary series, right? But if I had to think of others, maybe like Supermassive is up there, but they're hit or miss. But they do pump out a lot of titles in different, types of titles, I guess. I mean, they're all kind of like not point and click, but choose your own adventure type. That's kind of their bread and butter. But not all of them are equally as good. Frictional games is another one that comes to mind. The creators of Soma and the Amnesia series, which are incredibly well received and incredible games on their own right, but they haven't released a game in 2 years with Amnesia. What was it? The Amnesia the Bunker, which I played, and it was very, very good. But I looked it up to see if they had anything announced or in development, and I couldn't find anything. I'm sure they are working on something, but it hasn't been announced yet. And so that leads me to believe if this game delivers, this game is coming out this year, right? And then also, we just got the announcement that they got the green light to go ahead, and it's already started development. A remake of Silent Hill 1, which is ridiculous to even think about. I mean, it's not, but I didn't know if Konami was gonna do it, was gonna let them do it. But with the success of 2, why not go back and do the original? And I also read too, I mean, it's a rumor, I'm not sure of the source, but supposedly they're also working on Silent Hill 3 as well. So it reminds me kind of like of Insomniac, how they were for quite some time, just pumping out game after game, high quality. And I really hope this Chronos hits, because for me it's like just right up there. Like I love Dead Space so much, and this can kind of fill that void that we've been having for years, and I'm rooting for them. That's kind of basically why I wanted to make this video, is that I'm really rooting for Bloober. They've had some near hits in the past, and they're seeming to come into their own now. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like, and if you're new and you like what I'm doing, please consider subscribing. Catch you guys on the next video. Applerski out.